To understand how I became the person I did, let's roll back the videotape to pre-communist China, where my parents were born and raised with antiquated mindsets and ancient traditions that shaped my life. My father was the oldest son of 6 children, born in Suzhou in 1909. His parents named him Chung Ling Jiebao. In Chinese, the family name Chung comes first. Chung should have been translated Zong, T-S-O-N-G, as in Zu Zong de Zong, which means ancestor, not middle. Suzhou was an ancient cultural city built in 514 BC, considered the Venice of the East because so much of the city was covered with lakes, streams, and canals. Artistic, elaborately carved bridges arched gracefully over the canals. It was a spot so spectacular, Chinese emperors vacationed there. Daddy took his status as number 1 son seriously, even though his older sister was the true firstborn, but she was a girl. In chauvinistic Chinese society, daughters were considered expendable. They weren't quite stuffed in bags with rocks and tossed in the river, but you get the point. My grandfather owned a jewelry business that sold to foreign buyers, and he needed someone to interpret for him. He sent his number 1 son to school, not only to learn English, but also for a broader education. In 1915, at age 6, my father began learning with a tutor. At 9, he enrolled for 3rd grade at the Atkinson Academy, a private Methodist school that required tuition. He thrived, skipping grades and becoming managing editor of the yearbook. Attending Atkinson changed the course of my father's life. Headmaster Dr. Zhang, a graduate of the University of Minnesota, ignited a spark in Daddy when he spoke on graduation day. Dr. Zhang told the students he hoped they would go abroad and see the world. Travel, he said, would not only broaden their minds, but also help their wider understanding of humanity. Daddy vowed right then that if he ever had a chance to venture out in the world, he'd grab it. Fresh out of high school and equipped with his proficiency in English, my father set his sights on America. Mommy was born Ma Bilong in 1911 in the ancient metropolis of Nanjing, one of 4 great capitals of China during dynastic rule and one of the most important cities in the world, a center of tourism, culture, education, arts, and history. Mommy's father owned and operated a paper factory. Her mother was the manager of the employees, all of whom lived at the factory. It was common for the working class to eat and sleep at their workplaces. My maternal grandmother had live-in maids, cooks, and nannies at home. Since paper was an essential commodity and controlled by local strongmen, Mommy's father was powerful in Nanjing, so much so, according to family lore, he was like a mafia boss. Mommy's parents, the Ma's, had been childless for a decade, so when she came along, she was spoiled and coddled, especially by her father. Her grandmother insisted my mother's feet be bound in gauze, an ancient Chinese custom that dates back to the 10th century. Tiny feet as small as 3 to 5 inches were inexplicably desirable, like the tiny waists imposed on women in Victorian England. Bound feet were seen as essential for a marriageable daughter in the upper echelons of society. But my mother, at 5 years old, bitterly complained, "It hurts," despite her grandmother's fears that, quote, "no one will marry her because she has big feet," unquote. Her father insisted he'd support his daughter if no man would have her. End of binding.